The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
Rav Goldwasser relates a story that I like to call a tale of two savtas. There was a young man who tried to find his nasib, but he could not find the right one for him. And as he grew older, he tried to make the best of his life, but it stung, it hurt him, it hung on him. So he went, one day, she always went every Friday, he went to visit his grandmother. He goes to his savta in the hospital. He's sitting with his savta, he's talking, he's reading. All of a sudden, his savta gets very upset, very angry. She says, "What did you do with my dentures?" He says, "Savta, I didn't do anything with your dentures." She says, "Don't you be chutzpahdik, don't you be insolent to me. What did you do with my dentures?" He said, "Didn't touch your dentures, Savta." I don't know who would want to touch someone else's dentures, but she gets so mad, she slaps him across the face. And it's in that moment of humiliation, it's in that moment where everything, his whole life comes into such a sharp focus. How little he has, how small he feels. How even it seems the ones that should love him don't. How far he is from being loved. And he starts to cry, but he doesn't let his grandmother see. And when he turns around back to her, he smiles, he says, "I'm sure it's here somewhere." And he starts looking around the room until eventually he finds her dentures under her pillow. Here they are. And he goes home. That was a low point in his life. But what he did not know was that while this was taking place, through the curtain in his grandmother's hospital room, another savta was watching. And with that savta was her granddaughter, who was also visiting her. And mere moments after he walked out of the hospital, the savta, like only a Jewish bubby can, tracks down the nurse and says, "What's the name of those people?" I'm guessing she probably said, "HIPAA does not allow me to say," but that bubby gave her a piece of her mind. And she got the info. It was still that day when savta number 2 gave a call to the mother of this young man and said, "I just witnessed the most remarkable thing, the most wonderful thing in the room next to mine in the hospital. And I would like to tell you one thing that every Jewish mother and grandmother loves to say. Have I got a goil for you?" She didn't say that, that's just how I imagine it. They went out, and within 1 year, they were celebrating their chuppah. And after their chuppah had finished and he'd smashed the glass, Chatan and Kala left the wedding hall because they had a stop to make and 2 savtas to visit and to thank. In God's version of the story, things are not the way we see them. When the Jews are at the lowest point of their existence, what happens to them in that moment? When they're one step away from being redeemed. When Chazal tell us that if they're there for one more minute, they'll never get out. The Jewish people are crying more than ever. They are sad more than ever. They are depressed more than ever. But what they don't know is that they are close more than ever. Karov Yeshuatecha lavo. Their salvation was close to coming. They had never been closer. And that moment of sadness, those tears, actually were hiding something incredibly sweet right behind them.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org